morning, bit of a different start. I'll go back and get my shredder. It'll be a pain in the arse, but never mind. Only fuel. Right. So I'm always asked to do more live videos, and the thing is, I never really know what to say anymore. All I'm going to do is moan. And the thing is, I don't think it's just something I need anymore. I don't need to do that. I mean, I can't explain it, but writing the book, all my feelings are going into that book, and it's really helping. I cannot stress how much it is helping. The fact that I can actually say to the AI, create a chapter, and it's basically a silly chapter where the character goes off and does something, and you know, it's kind of like a release. Okay, let's just say I've had an awkward customer. I could say, right, create a chapter where the character's dealing with an awkward customer, and I can listen to it, and it's like a it's not a moan, it's just like more escapism. And yeah, I posted on Facebook recently. I didn't know people I did not know not everybody does this. But when I go to sleep, when I go to bed, I close my eyes and I imagine a world. I create this whole entire world in my head. I am somebody totally different. I am a character, and that's how this book has come into being. And I just thought everybody does it, you know, in imaginary world, you know, fantasy world. And you know, you go to bed, you close your eyes, and you picture, and you basically create a movie in your head. And apparently, not everybody does that, and I'm just really shocked about it. So that throughout the years has been my way of coping with life. You know, I've had a bad day with my mum and stepdad, or my sister, or you know, kids at school have bullied me. And that's, you know, basically what this story is about. And YouTube at the time was like an extension of that. It was like my way of just getting crap off my chest. But the thing is, I don't do that. I don't need it anymore. So, you know, and I can see that, you know, somebody's been watching and then just decided not to. Oh, they're back again. Oh, you're back again, are you? I don't know who you are, but anyway. So, talking about, I mean, the reason why I'm doing the live video is because I'm going to talk about the gardening today. First of all, yesterday was a bit of it's a tough one. You see, the thing is, because when you get so busy, when you first start out your business, you take a lot of work, and you take work that's really just, you know, I take jobs took jobs then, but I would never even answer the phone to if I knew what they were. You know what I mean? Hi, I could do my lawn cutting. Yeah. How often do you need it cutting? No, just the once. I don't need it cutting all the time. Just the once. How is it been cut this year? No, it's June. How tall is it? Oh, it's only knee height. It's fine. How much? You know. Okay, it's going to cost you 60 quid. Oh, can you do it for 20? Yes. You know, that's the kind of thing that you would do when you're just starting out, but you don't do that now. And the reason is because you get so busy, you don't have fucking time for it. This is a nightmare going through Burton now. It really is. You just don't have time for it, and you know, you get so busy, your mind is racing, you've got to try and keep up with work. And I'm doing that for 2 jobs basically, because I have to do it for Sam's as well. So I went to quote this job, and this is when it gets even harder, when somebody grabs you off the street, because I don't have any record of it. I've just got to try and remember what they've told me. So this chap, he grabs us off the street. Hi, how much would you charge to do this hedge? And what I want to say is, have you got the hedge with you? And he'll go, well, that's a stupid question. Oh, so is yours, you stupid twat. But no, I say, yes, where are you? I'd need to see the... Because the first thing you get is, how much do you charge? And I'm thinking, not per hour, just how much do you charge? That is the first question. That to me now is like a red flag, you know. Oh, great, here we go. So I say, charge for what? He says, oh, I've got this hedge round the back. How much would you charge to cut my hedge round the back? And I say, well, I need to see it. And I say, oh, okay. As if, you know, it's the, oh, okay. As if, oh, I didn't realise you'd need to see it. Well, of course I do. I don't know how bloody big your hedge is. Yeah, it's going to be 20 quid. And then you see it and it's like 400 feet long. It's going to be 500 quid. And then you see it and it's like 2 centimetres long. You know what I mean? I'm over-exaggerating there, but you get what I'm saying. Oh, here you get like the numpties who will block my way because I can't... I can't go through now. Is he going to block my way? Of course he is. Oh, you fucking twat! Fuck's sake. You can't go anywhere. That's the worst thing. They can't go anywhere. So why block the way? Because he's going down there. That's fine. Well, maybe if you were indicating. Well, it did indicate. You just weren't listening. I didn't need to listen to the indicator. I'm having an argument with myself here. Anyway, so I went and had a look at this hedge, and he says, how much to cut that? And I says, okay, because he'd never been cut for a couple of 3 years. And I says, I'll give him a price. And he said, oh, okay, when could you do that? And I said, well, you're probably looking at, and this was a couple of months ago, I said, you're probably looking at a couple of months. And oh, okay, yes. Why are you here? Because he gave me a price for the other hedge at the front. All right, yeah, okay, so do you want that done on the same day? Oh, no. Just give me a price on the other hedge, that's all. Just need a price. And I went, okay, so I'll give him a price for the other hedge. And then I said, it would make it easier if you had the 2 hedges done on the same day. And he says, oh, I'll have to think about that one. I don't remember how the conversation went, but I do know that he did not want the 2 done at the same time. Now, apparently his wife said from the kitchen, oh, do them at the same time. And that was it. That's all I got. Well, I never heard that because I'm trying to work it all out in my head, trying to write down details. So I obviously didn't hear that. I mean, I don't even remember the whole conversation, but I do remember that he didn't want both done at the same day. Anyway, so I booked it in. I give him a quote. And he accepted the quote and everything and what have you, and I always put the dates on the quote. He says, when are you going to do this? And I said, it's on the quote. It's always on the quote. He said, I call them estimates, and the reason is because it covers me then if I'm there a little bit less time, or if I'm there a little bit more time, if on the very rare occasion I have to charge more, then I can do. So I always call them estimates, not a quote. A quote means it's written in writing, that's it, it is a quote. Whereas an estimate is just a rough idea. Anyway, so I booked in half a day. Now Sam has got access to my diary, because I use my phone for this, because the thing is, I don't want to carry a booklet around with me, because I just end up scribbling. My handwriting, when I'm trying to write fast, it's all scribbles. And I can't read it, so it's just easier if I just use my phone. I can put it in the diary. The phone. Okay, we got spots of rain. Oh, I hate it when people are undecisive on what they're going to do. So yeah, I wrote. Yeah, so we went to another job, and it says, oh, why? Oh, poor Sam's going to get wet. She's only wearing a t-shirt. So I was at this job, and it says how much to cut this other hedge. So I had a look at the hedge, and Sam put it into the diary. and unfortunately she done it onto her diary, which didn't sync with my diary. So she thought that day was free because she's only got a partial diary on her diary. I know it's all a bit weird, and so she basically double booked. Well, luckily, as it happened, when I realised her mistake, I said to the customer who wanted the second hedge doing, I said, it's okay, I've only got the one hedge to do in the morning, so I should be all right. Anyway, so the chap says, oh, could you do the bigger hedge in the morning? Because I saw him, because I've got another job opposite. And he collared me. He says, oh, could you do the bigger hedge in the morning when you turn up? This was a few weeks later. I says, well, I've only booked in the one hedge. He says, oh, it was supposed to be in both hedges. I've got so many things going on in my head, and I've got so many messages and so many things to put in. Sometimes I'll forget, sometimes it'll take a while. But when I tell a customer or ask a customer something, they haven't got all that problem, especially if they're retired. So when it comes to like messaging and stuff, I'm thinking, well, come on, reply to me, I need to reply. I can't text, I can't phone, I hate using the phone, I really do. Because the thing is, I can't hear them half the time. My signal's crap, I can't hear them. So it's just easier if they just send a text, especially if they give me details, because then at least then I haven't got to write down anything down, and I've got a record of it in the text. What I am going to start doing with each of the texts, when I get a text off somebody for a potential job or whatever, I'm actually going to pin it, because I get a lot of texts from people saying, hi, this is such and such. We've noticed your website details, and I have to delete them, but sometimes I don't delete them all. I have half a dozen of those a day. So, you know, I've got so much going on, and I have to delete all these messages, and then the stuff gets lost. But it's like, I wish customers would just sort of know exactly what they want. If you'd have actually, because they don't realise the headache they can cause. Well, the other headache I've got is, I had a customer like yesterday saying, hi, I keep getting reminders for a grass cut. Now, this is a prolific late payer, and I really, really want to ditch them. I just want to get rid of them. I don't want to do their lawn anymore. But I do their neighbours, and they are two big lawns that I do. And they are pretty much together. So and I have to travel to do these lawns as well, so to travel to just do one lawn, it's not worth it. So that's why I've kept him going. But as soon as his neighbour turns around to me and says, I don't need you anymore, because they've moved out basically, they're not living there, they're just renovating the house. And if they put it on the market or whatever, then I'll probably just turn around to him and say, I can't do this anymore, because it's just not enough, it's not worth my while travelling out here just for one lawn. So basically she'll be doing me a favour. Yes, it's a big drop in money, because they're quite a large amount of money to lose, but having said that, it isn't, because I can pick it up very easy, very quickly. So the difference is that, because it's like, especially when the weather's like it is now, I can just mulch the lawns and get them done very, very quickly, in and out, job done. There's the only one that has trimming, there's only a little bit of trimming, there's no edging or anything like that. It's just literally a very, very quick job. Gets a bit of a ball ache if it's wet and growing like that, but you know, it's a swings and roundabouts. Anyway, so he's asking me about, oh, I'm getting reminders, and I'm thinking, well, I've put it's automated, everything is automated. If he's made a payment, it'll be on the system. It's as simple as that. You cannot make a payment and it not go on the system. I've got people who've made payments and they have overpaid, and it's on the system. It's permanently on the system. Now, I could give them a refund, but I've told them not to pay. I've said, do not pay any more money until the amount that you've overpaid is gone. So they can basically get free lawn cuts. Well, they've prepaid it. So this chap, he's paid late, and he basically, we cut their lawn, and he paid a day after. No, fucking twat. sexist, that is. So, yeah, this chap is complaining because he paid late, and I've got to go through the whole system now and give him a complete breakdown of the whole year just to prove that he's not overpaid, because he thinks he's paid. And then I'm going to say, I don't. You see, that's the thing. I don't. I actually see it now. I actually see how I am, and I really do not know how not to be like this. We've been watching The Big Bang Theory, and I see a lot of myself in Leonard's character, because he just doesn't want to be argumentative. He doesn't want to upset people. Oh, that's me. I don't want to upset people. And yet, the reason being is because I don't want him to fall out with me. I don't want him to be annoyed and stuff like that. And yet, other people, they can just upset people and they're still friends with them. And I'm thinking, how does that work? It's sad. It really is sad. But anyway, I don't know how to tell this person. If you pay on time, you won't have this problem. The system is it's a solid system when it comes to payments. When you pay into a bank, it automatically goes onto the thing. And if they pay and use the invoice numbers, which is what I always ask them to, then it marks it as paid and sends them a receipt. But I can't get people to do that. In fact, one of our customers, I said to him, look, because she was on about payments and reminders and stuff, and I says, I have to make them automated, because otherwise I get people who just don't pay. And she goes, yes, but I get them. And I says, I can't stop them. I cannot stop them. I said, the only way to science, when my accountant sends me an invoice and I pay that invoice, I put the invoice number in. When Sam sends me an invoice for the railway, I put the invoice number in. Because Sam invoices me for the railway, they pay me and then I pay her. It's the easiest way to do it. It's a subcontracting. But it cost me a fortune in insurance. Have you got any subcontractors? Technically no, but yes. The worst thing is, it's subcontracting for the railway, and my insurance company does not cover me for the railway. Because the railway covers me for the railway. It's, for fuck's sake. So there's another scam as well. Everything's a fucking scam, isn't it? Early this year, I was making a claim because I hit that garage with my trailer. Neither company would pay out. The van wouldn't pay out because they said it's business. The business wouldn't pay out because they said it was a vehicle. So I lost out then. I had to pay for it myself. But because I started making a claim on the business insurance, they says, oh, we see you've got a claim here. We're going to have to increase your price this year to up by £100. And I never even fucking claimed. You never even... It was like yesterday when I was telling the customer about all the waste, because I had to make a separate trip to get rid of a load of waste, because it was a reduction of a Laurel and there was quite a lot of waste. So I filled the trailer, I took it round to the flat and put it in the compost heap. And then I come back, and then at the end, when they were sorting out the payments and everything, I said I had to pay to get rid of it. I said, luckily, I compost most of it. But anything I can't compost, I have to pay for. I have to store and then take to the tip. And I said, it cost me. I said, it cost me just under 90 quid. And they went, really? Yeah, it does. The thing is, you put things like that on the quotes, invoices, estimates, whatever, terms and conditions. They don't read them. I remember once, years ago, one of my customers, this was a strange one, this one was. I had this customer for a while, and she says, oh, I had a gardener, but he didn't want to do weeding. I went, oh, okay. So he left. would you be able to cut my lawn? She never mentioned anything about weeding or borders. So I said, yeah, I can do that for you. And then I was cutting the lawn, and I cut the lawn for a year, and it was getting quite bad because we'd just had the 2018 heat wave, and so the lawn was really struggling. And not only that, they used to have it. They obviously had it treated at one point. It was really full of thatch, so it needed scarifying. Well, they asked me, and I said, I'm sorry, it's not something I do, but I do know a company that does it. And so she had the company do it for them, and they produced about 4 bulk bags of waste. And it clearly said on their terms and conditions that she has to pay to have the waste removed, and she'd never read it. So when she paid, she didn't pay for the waste removal, so they didn't remove the waste, they left it there. And our charge was 35 quid, what a twat, for 4 bulk bags. This is what I'm saying when you do silly jobs like that. You know, you do them because it's a little bit of extra money, and I think, well, I'll just take them with me as and when, and ends up, I mean, it took me about 2 years to get rid of it all, trying to compost all that moss. So, yeah. And the worst thing is after I got rid of them all, she got rid of me. And I'm thinking, do you not realise the amount of work I've just done for you? And then a year later, she says, oh, because she says, I needed somebody to do weeding. And I said, well, you never asked. I says, it is something I do. I said, well, I've got somebody who can do the lawns and the weeding. And then a year later, she rang up, she says, I think I've made a mistake, because her lawn looked awful. And I says, well, I have got time, luckily. And I says, and I actually asked her, I said, do you want me to do weeding? And I went, no, it was just the lawns. So I just went back and I was doing the lawns, and then a year later they got rid of me again. Very strange. But none stranger than folk. You see, this is why I don't do live videos anymore, because I'm really talking about bollocks. So I've got these hairy bollocks. Crap, 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 crap. So to the hedge, and they're walking around and says, oh, you know, at some point we could do with this doing as well. Would you be able to do it on the day? And because, again, it's like that guy, if it's a last minute thing, unless it's booked in, they actually say, oh, can you do the hedge and this? If they say just the hedge and then they go add it in right at the end, I'm going to forget, and that's basically what happened. I forgot. So today, the reason why I'm going back to get the tread out is because we finished the day's work, went into the office just to say, I can't remember what I was saying, and the chap says, oh, before you go, we need this doing, and I forgot about it. If they'd asked me during the day, I'd be looking at it and I'd be thinking, yeah, I've got to do this, because I've actually looked at the job, you know what I mean, and I've thought, right, I need this, this and this. I've actually thought about the job, but when I'm just told and not thought about the job, it's gone. That's what she did, and I had a load of pyracantha and I couldn't shred it, because all the hedge clippings, so I shredded. And I still had some sprayers in the back of the van, so I didn't have a lot of room to put the waste. So I left the waste there, and there was probably about 6 bags of rubble sacks of waste. It wasn't a great deal. The pyracantha took up about 4 bags, and there was 3 bags of shredded waste. That you can't compress down, whereas the what's it do? You can. Anyway, so you know, I had the waste there, and I got a message saying, oh, if I'd known you weren't going to get rid of the waste, I wouldn't have had you do the hedge. And that was it. It wasn't a case of, oh, thanks for doing the hedge, it looks great, but I didn't realise you weren't going to get the hedge, take the chippings. I wouldn't have had it done today. I would have waited till you took the chipper, or something like that. I would have said it a bit more polite, but people don't. And that's what does it for me. I just think I can't be doing with being made to feel like shit after I've spent a lot of time doing a hard job. I don't want that. Even from a customer that I consider a really good customer. They tip and everything, and you know, she was shocked that we did the lawn as well. So, but I went round the following day and I collected the waste anyway, which is what I would have done. I I forgot to message her. All it says, we couldn't take the waste today because we didn't have enough room in the van. We'll take it tomorrow. But because she sent me that message, it just put, for fuck's sake. So, yeah, I don't know what I want to do anymore. I really don't. But so next year, I'm thinking, do I want to get another van? If I do I get another Citroen, another Dispatch? I think Vauxhall do a long wheelbase, and they're basically the same van. Do I get a Vauxhall? I wouldn't mind something a bit. It's a shame they don't do a high top. I looked at getting a Max. I can't remember what they're called. A Deliver. Max. I can't remember what they're called. Deliver 9. I can't remember the company that make them, but I was thinking of getting one of those. I could do. They seem a nice van. I've had Citroen for years now. I like Citroen. I like the way they run. So do I keep that, or do I go for the bigger van? Because it is a bigger van. It's slightly taller, slightly bigger, has slightly more interior. As long as it's not electric. I do not want an electric van. But I'd be thinking more sort of long-term use. I mean, I could have a lease van and think, right, we'll just have it as a lease. The problem is it's like this van's mine, and it's a swings and roundabouts. I've had 2 years where I've not had to pay for anything for this van. It's all I've had to do is just pay for the repairs. So with a lease, I'd still be paying X amount of money each month just to keep the van on the road. They'll sting you. They would have stung me anyway, because there's a few dings and dents in the van, and they wouldn't be happy with that. I'll get stung for that. So, you know, it's especially this type of work, I think it's just easier if I just buy the van. As I say, I've had 2 years out of it where I've not had to pay. And I know I won't get any money back really on the van now. She's old, needs a lot of work doing to it. You know, if I Partex it, you know you're not going to get any money for it anyway. You'd probably get £1,000 if that, which is ridiculous. See, if I was to sell this, I'd probably want about 4, maybe £5,000 for it. It's done 63,000 miles, and although there's a few dings in it, it's nothing major. There's nothing major wrong with the van, and the van runs perfectly. I've got a full, and I mean full, service log. I'd probably change the wheels because the wheels are rusty. I don't know how much they're worth. Maybe less than that. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure if you were to go to a showroom, that's how much you'd be paying for a van of this age. What are you doing 40? It's a 60. I bet you do 50 down there. I hate it when people do that. Just one speed wallers. Set my speed limiter to 40. If they go faster than me, then you know they're going over the speed limit. It's nothing to do with the speed limit. It's just because, well, they're just on autopilot. I don't know what it is. Are they going to still do 40 and 30? Probably. Yep. So yeah, if I did get another van, I'd be thinking future-proofing it. I'd probably buy it so that I could keep it for the rest of, well, for as long as I can really, as long as I can drive maybe. because I've got a van then to use. I thought about doing house clearances or something like that, but again, I'm still dealing with customers because it's draining. And the thing is, it's like when it comes to the gardening work, I'm turning down now weeding jobs, anything with weeding, because it's morally draining. It really is. It's so demoralising, because I actually dread now going to a job where I've got to do weeding, because I'll turn up and I do the lawn. The way we work is I do the lawn, Sam does the borders. Once I've done the lawns, I go. But I can't just do that. Even though I'm not charging them a great deal, I charge it, let's just say it's a 30 quid lawn, I'm probably only charging them 10 quid for the weeding. And then I still got to stay because I don't think we've done enough weeding. And it's like, but you're only getting paid, I'm only getting paid 10 quid for it. So it ends up costing me a shitload. I can't make it pay. I just cannot make it pay. I have started doing things like weed spraying. I never used to do that, but I've started weed spraying, strimming and stuff like that, weeds, just to get them down. Because, you know, it's one of those jobs where gardening is all about impact. I always call it being cut unless it's like this. Yesterday, I'll talk about that quickly. Yesterday I saw somebody cutting a lawn and I'm thinking, you're just taking fucking advantage of that person. Their lawn was like that, maybe a couple of weeds, but there really was not anything to cut. I will not cut a lawn like that, and I have seen people do it. I've seen them on Facebook do it, and I just think, I know you've got to make money, but you're taking advantage of those people. You are not doing anything. That's like going into a shop and saying, right, you don't need any bread, but you're still going to buy a loaf of bread because you normally do. Right, they're going to... But yeah, if I do keep another van, I'll be thinking at least then I can figure out what I can. The worst thing is when I parked up last night, the trailer was actually attached. Right, I'm going to go, and there you go. And that is why I don't do live videos.